Okay, open this public hearing. The topic is fiscal year 2019-20 state shared revenues. And I'm going to turn it over to our financial director, Matt Brown.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
So each year, the state of Oregon requires each municipality that receives state shared revenue to hold a public hearing and to hear any comments from the public on how that revenue should be spent. In your packet for tonight's public hearing is a short list of the 4 items that are classified as revenue sharing: the cigarette tax, alcohol tax, revenue sharing in general, and then the cannabis tax. So I did mention in my little short report that the cannabis tax is held specifically in the general fund contingency and was designated by the city council to only be spent for community outreach, for drug and marijuana education.
Yes.
So those funds are still in there. That's where they're kept. They have not been spent yet. So, but the other 3, cigarette tax, alcohol, revenue sharing, this is the part where we open it up to the public if there's any comment on how they feel that those revenues should be spent. Right now they just go into the general fund and are split among all the departments: police, library, parks, recreation, admin, that kind of thing. So
Keith, Mike.
How much is in the education fund, please?
I was hoping you would speak slower so I could pull it up. It's, I think, if I recall, I want to say it's close to $200,000 right now, if you include this 1920, which is estimated to be should be about $110,000. So I think we have about 100 or so in there from just it's mainly the property tax or the business taxes that we used to collect for the couple of the businesses that are in town.
That we're operating, okay.
Correct.
So we should start getting the education fund from ACSP here in a couple months. Yeah.
That would just add to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So did we have that? We had that split into 3 though: parks, education, and police.
Well, that particular fund was safety, education, and parks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Could any of that money be used for the recreation department? Or is that under parks?
The cannabis is designated for the education. The other 3, the cigarette tax, alcohol, and general revenue sharing, all go into the general fund, which supports recreation and parks, as well as all the other departments.
Okay, and the cannabis could go to the recreation, or is that really considered education? I know.
As of right now, the city council has designated those funds to be used for outreach and education.
Okay. Because the fact that we're working with the school on the...
Well, the rec center could be the facility for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the education was more of a drug education, not
Correct.
just general education.
Correct.
We're talking about the 3% tax.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
So
it doesn't have specific restrictions on it when it comes to us. We just impose those on yourself to do that. So you could technically do whatever you desired with them, put it in the general fund, pay for school resource officers or whatever. And,
It's kind of our own thing that we adopted, right? Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
Yep. So we'll open it up to the general public if there's any comments. You want to say anything about state shared revenue?
Frank Brandon. I hadn't really given this much thought until you spoke about it, and I get the cannabis funds are going for education, and what's the other term?
Safety, which
Safety.
is police,
Right.
basically.
Yep.
So, alcohol's pretty evil. Why not take
Absolutely.
some of that alcohol monies and direct those specifically to education and safety?
Parks. The third part of that was parks. Yeah.
But just, instead of alcohol revenues
Right.
solely going into the general fund, perhaps a portion of those could be allocated for. Because
So back before the recession, what we generally did with those funds was disperse them amongst the the nonprofits in town. And then when we started running out of money, we decided we can't do that anymore. So we're hopefully in the next maybe couple of years, maybe we can start helping out the nonprofits again or something. I don't know.
If that is something the city council wants to look at, we can kind of start slowly building that in over the next several years. We don't want to just take away $400 or so
Right.
dollars or
Well,
the
and
general
I like-
fund.
I like what Frank has to say about why don't we team a little bit of that money up from the alcohol part of it and utilize the rec program and make it educational, but it has to be, to have kids' interest, you have to make it interesting. You have to have a good
It also has to
facility.
be the truth.
Yes,
So police cannot give the course totally.
yeah. It has to be the truth.
Maybe an opportunity to also partner more with the school since they have direct access to the kids, and maybe we sponsor a couple assemblies or speeches about education or anything like that. That could be an opportunity we look at with the rec program working more with the school district.
Yeah. I totally agree with you that
Cannabis,
alcohol is.
people don't die from cannabis.
Yep.
I'm not praising it, or I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
saying people don't die. They die from alcohol.
Yep.
And I certainly have known people who have died, whether from, being the victims or
Not only
being
died, they're murdered.
Exactly. Lives are taken
Yeah.
away as a direct effect of alcohol. I'm not 100% against alcohol, but I'm just saying that, education,
Yes.
it's an important thing to consider since you mentioned it. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Seeing as how there is no other members of the public here, so I'll just let you know that this is on as tonight as a resolution to read to accept the state shared revenues. That's pretty much all there is to it.
So it seems like it used to be around 200 10 years ago. Is inflation picked up, or are we getting, of course, we're getting the marijuana now, so.
In the last few years, the revenue sharing's actually gone up from what it used to be. Now, I haven't gone back as far as probably more than 5 or 7 years. But so if you go back maybe 10 or so years,
Yeah.
maybe there's some history.
I think
where
it was around
could have been more.
170, something like that, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, this hearing is closed. Wait 5 minutes and go to the